welcome to the first episode of the Cam Model Collective. I'm your host, LushiousLisha. Today, we have an old friend of mine, a voyeur, and the kinky girl next door, Dom Queen, Mistress Kate. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. If you guys don't know, she was on the last channel that I was on, Candid Diaries, what, twice? You
Yeah.
interviewed on there? Yeah, she's a ton of fun. But she's into BDSM and voyeurism. That's her top ones there. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I love camming and I find I'm kind of I'm very fluid, which can be a lot of fun. And I'm kind of sweet. I smile a lot. Oh, sorry.
You do, yes,
But,
definitely.
I also I like to be in charge. I like to be in control. And I can submit to the right person, but you really have to get me into that space. If you start throwing demands at me or start trying, you're going to notice a change in my mood like immediately.
Hmm.
Um, I love being naked outside in my backyard. I actually recently started doing a few because I drive back and forth a lot. I started doing some streams while I drive on stream,
Really?
and that's been a lot of fun.
Wow.
I just like to have fun and enjoy myself, but
Yeah.
mainly, I love the BDSM community. I love kink play, and I find myself really having fun when I get to cater to those different niches, something just a little more.
Yeah. And like BDSM has become honestly like the new norm. Like it
Yeah.
used to be there's still a huge stigma on it, but like so if you go into like Chatterbait, the first hashtag is BDSM. It's very popular.
Well, and there's such a range, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
BDSM means so many different things to so many different people.
Yes, it
So,
does.
you know, and I that's actually an issue that I've had because I'll have people come in and they're like, I'm into
Mhm.
BDSM. I see you're a mistress.
Yep.
They're like, and I'm like, great, what are you into? And they're like, I'm into everything, just take control. I'm like, okay, I can't do that. Like, I need to know a little bit more about you. Do you want small penis, humiliation? Do you want me to treat you like, do you want to do some serious kink play? Are you into like diaper play? Like,
Yeah,
do you like to be spanked? Do you just want me to be in control and like tell you how to jerk off? I'm like, there's a
mhm.
million.
There are.
Are you gonna put on a collar and be my pet and let me walk you around like a dog? Like, do you want to be gagged? Like, I need to know more than
Yeah,
just I want you to take control and hands up in the
exactly.
air.
You bring up a valid point because a lot of people think BDSM is just a few things. It is a range of a lot of stuff. It's edge play, it's consent, it's I mean it's so many different things. Kind of just to give a background if anyone doesn't know what BDSM stand for, it's bondage,
Mm.
submission. Hold on.
Bondage.
I wrote it down because I knew I wasn't gonna remember it. Bondage, submissive. No, I don't know what it is. Oh my gosh. Okay, we gotta figure this out. Oh yeah, bondage and discipline, and then dominance and submission.
Yeah.
That's what that stands for. So pretty much, you have to always get consent before you do that. And if you're just getting into it, you need to do a lot of research before you just get into it, like you said,
Yeah.
because there's just so many aspects to it.
One of my partners is actually the reason that, I'll be honest, a few years ago, I didn't know a lot about BDSM. It
Hmm.
wasn't until I, worked in the dungeon
Hmm.
and I had a partner who was interested in BDSM. I
Right.
did the research. That's how I learned.
Yeah.
But I think people watch like porn online, and it's all like this, and so they just in their head they have an idea of what BDSM is because they know what they like, right? But
Right.
I'm like, we need if you can't just take me into a private chat and then say, take control and then be pissed off when I start asking you questions and leave. That irritates me, and that
Yeah.
happens all the time. I'm like, you got to let me get to know you a little bit, and we can have a lot of fun. Because like
Exactly.
you can have there's so many different ways that we can play, right? And I love to help make your fantasies come true, but I can't do that if I don't know what your fantasy is.
Exactly. Very
So
real to the point with that.
all right, I'm like, be a little bit, some folks are just so impatient. I'm like, you just got to
Exactly.
tell me a little bit more about you,
Yeah.
and then we can make it work.
Exactly. It's not hard. So what's your favorite BDSM thing to do? What do you like to do the best?
I like spanking. I know it's kind of corny, it's an old
Yeah.
classic, but I just, and whipping in general, just like flogging. There's something special to me about that. I
Yeah.
love just being able to get those endorphins flowing for someone.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've never tried BDSM, like it's it's amazing. Like it's just like two ends of the spectrum all put together and it's all at the same time. And then it's just incredible. I mean,
It is.
it's
Well, and
nuts.
that's one of the things at Exotica that I loved so much because they had like the dungeon experience where you could go in
Really?
and get like different setups. Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. If you had like a partner with you or something, or you just had a willing participant, like they had all types of different equipment that you could, it was
Cool.
a really cool experiment. So, and that's enough. There's so many different ways that you can go out and play and explore
Mhm.
and just have conversations with people.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize, like a lot of people like, their hair pulled or role play. That's BDSM. Like you think you're not doing it, you are. That's just the just a smaller version of BDSM. But I mean,
I
it's
love like role play too. It was so much
yeah,
fun.
me, I love that too. It's one of my favorites. What's the craziest thing you dressed up as? Someone, oh, think I know what you're gonna say. What was the craziest thing that someone's ever to do?
Still to this day, it's the blueberry
I knew
inflation.
it.
um,
You know, leave it to you to get that because you acted out probably perfectly.
I hope that I did. I feel like I did a really bad job. Like, I wish that I still had the first person who ever asked me to do that. I wish I had their contact information because I'm like, I could do you so much better now. They reached out to me when I had first started camming and doing online work. So I was
Mhm.
moving from a space of doing some more like in-person
Mhm.
work to online work.
Yeah.
Um, and it was technology is a big challenge, right? And then
Mhm.
they wanted blueberry inflation. And I was like, I've never heard of this. What are you talking about? And they were like, like Violet from Willy Wonka. And I'm like, I'm picking up what you're putting down. What do you want from me though? I'm like, how can I act this out for you? And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, I want to put on the Oompa Loompa song in the background and like wear a purple shirt or something and shove some pillows up under your shirt. And then I want you to roll around on the ground and pretend that you're being like squeezed and juiced out and coming as you're juiced out.
Wow.
You know what? I got
That's
you.
intense. Yeah, that's intense. That's props to you because most girls would not. They're like,
Well,
no,
I charged an exorbitant amount of money for it because I was sure that this man was making fun of me.
yeah,
I was like, there's 100% no way you're not going to post this shit on like America's Funniest Home Videos or something. I'm like,
exactly.
there's no way. And he wanted this as like a Dropbox situation, that
Oh,
like, yeah, it was like, I was like, there's that. So I was like, you know what? If this was published on the internet to make fun of me, what price would I charge? And that's what I
the way to look
charged.
at
I
it.
don't
Yeah.
remember what it was, but it was exorbitant. And I was like, all right, maybe. And to this day, I've never seen that video service. I think the guy was legit.
God,
So
right?
I'm sorry to you, sir. My hat goes off. Um, I hope you enjoyed that content still to this day. I
That
can
is
do
the
a better
best
video
thing I've ever
now for
heard.
you. Now
Honestly,
I've
that's the
got
best
better
thing I've ever
equipment
heard.
now. I've got like a better idea of what I'm doing. So like I can make something better.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Violet Beauregard, that was her name, right? That's what you
Oh,
were.
it is. And it turns out it's a whole kink that he's not the only one. More than one person has approached me about this. I've had several
Oh,
people. I thought he was the only person in the world. I was like, you got to be the only one.
yeah.
Like everyone's into something, not kink shaming. But I was like, damn, like this is a whole thing. So
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I was like that's
yeah.
definitely the most interesting role play I've ever done.
Yeah, you could be the new Willy Wonka niche. Like, what's the other?
I'm
What's the?
not above it. I'm not above it. It was fun. I
Oh,
felt
that's
really,
exciting.
really silly the first time, but I like theater, like so I got into
Yeah,
the part a little bit. I don't hate it now. Once I realized that once I got over the lump of like, you're actually using this is what you're into, and this
yeah,
isn't a tool that you're using to humiliate me, because I myself do not like to be humiliated. I was like,
yeah.
fuck it.
Who does?
Yeah, who am I to kink shame? And if this is what you're into, I'm gonna hook you up. So,
Awesome.
I
That's
can get
crazy.
it. Yeah.
It definitely came to the right person because most people would be like, nah, I'm good. I don't know if I would have done it. I would have been too embarrassed, honestly.
I was just starting out. I needed the money. I was, I don't want to say that desperation played a part, but desperation played a factor for me.
Yeah,
Like I
sometimes it
said,
does.
when I charged that exorbitant amount of money and he paid it, I was like, all
Yeah,
right. The
yeah,
only other I was like, I didn't want to screw him. I wasn't going to like not give him the video. I was like, All right, here we
Mhm.
go. We'll do it.
That's awesome. Big
It,
round
it
of applause.
definitely wasn't good. It was not good quality. I felt silly doing it. I was probably like the first, it was definitely,
Listen, but you're the only one probably that's ever done that. So you like you set the standard. You probably set the bar really high because you probably did go all out and like got all into that. And you probably did.
the second few people that asked me to do it, they definitely got better content than the
Wait,
first.
there
Like,
was more than one?
yeah.
Shut up. That makes it more incredible. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
That's so funny. Oh
Oh
my
yeah,
God.
there's more than one. There's more than one. The other videos I did are definitely better than the first one.
Yes, they keep getting better
I,
every time you do it.
yeah, and well, in the first time, I genuinely believe I was like, "There's no way on his life he is going to use this video and post it somewhere." But he
Yeah,
didn't. Like, well, maybe he did, but I haven't seen it. So,
that's good. That was the one thing I was always when I used to cam on Chatterbait. I was always afraid that people were gonna like take my shit and put it online. I think the craziest thing ever happened to me is there was a guy on there and he's like, you're on a huge like projector screen. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you're in a field right now on a party. I'm like, oh my God, like that was crazy. You just never know camming where you actually are. Like, who's
yeah,
watching you? It could be thousands of people at the same time.
yeah, yeah. That was something. That was a big awakening.
Hmm.
Somebody that I know had somebody in their family log onto their stream that was watching them.
That's creepy.
Yeah, and I was like a close member of their family, and they weren't secretive about it. So like,
Really?
yeah, and it was so that was a situation. Yeah, and there's definitely been some instances with some people I know, and I was just like,
Oh
ooh,
yeah, me too. Like I didn't you and all the sites, if you guys that are watching don't know, like you can block certain states, you can block countries. But then when you block that state, that's cutting out a whole lot of people you could be making money off of. And that happened to me too. I didn't block the state that I live in, and one of my friends got on there and made himself known and like put out my personal information right on the chat, kind of being a dick. And that's one thing you just gotta decide if you want people to know, if you don't want them to know.
yeah, I block the state I live in and a
Yeah.
few of the surrounding states,
Yeah.
simply because that was one of the things I was worried about going to Exotica because
Yes.
I live in, I went to DC and I
Hmm.
live in DC.
Hmm.
Um, so I was afraid that I was driving back and forth from the event and I was afraid someone was going to follow me home.
Yeah, that's scary.
But I found another model, models always bond together. I found a group of us. We followed each other to our cars. We made sure that we all got home
Good.
safely.
You need that.
And there were no instances. And there was a ton of security at Exotica. Especially I went as a My Free Cams model and
Hmm.
they were top notch. I felt super, super safe the whole time. It was a really,
That's
really
good.
good experience, but you never know. People are crazy. And if
Yeah,
someone
you
wants to
don't.
find something out, they will. Like you can geo block, you can use a VPN, you can take all the steps, but if someone
Yeah,
wants to find your information, they
they
will.
will. They will. And a lot of times VPNs don't work on some of the campsites, like Chatterbait, for instance, will not let you have a VPN. Like I got in an argument with Discord about that because I said that's not really helping us at all. You know. So tell us more about Exotica. What is Exotica about?
So Exotica, I've only been once.
Mhm.
It was my first year going. They host a couple different events, and it's like a big, for lack of a better term, sex convention.
Mhm.
They have different seminars that you can attend. They have they have all types of merch shops. You can go, models will stream from there, and you can go and you can meet your favorite models if you look and see. They have a big like event page, so you can go and
Mhm.
like see exactly who's going to be there. You can do a lot of shopping, get all your toys. They had the dungeon experience where I think it was a little bit extra to get in that
Mhm.
way, but they had all the stuff set up and you can go and try it out and ask a bunch of questions. They've got a main stage where they do performances. It's a really
Wow.
cool,
Yeah, you
yeah,
can watch it. You can watch it on because I remember I was watching it on Chatterbait, and a lot of the models were streaming right from there. They're getting painted, and it was really cool.
yeah.
Was there
I
a lot of people there?
There was. I streamed from the My Free Cams booth. I met a lot of really cool people. For me, it was more about the experience of
Mhm.
getting to meet and bond with other models. Um,
Yes,
I got to connect with a lot of different people. I got to find some really cool products. And
that's
if you
awesome.
wait until the last day, you can get some good discounts on stuff when everyone's closing and the vendors are about to leave. Um,
So you think you're gonna go back again?
I'd like to,
Yeah.
I'd like to.
When's the
So
next one? Do you know?
They do a bunch of them. If you look on the My Free Cams post a lot about it, there's something that's coming up, but that might be a model social. And
Right.
sometimes those are private for models only.
Right.
But I want to say in like June or July, maybe.
I
I'm not.
think you're right. I think it is the summer, like the end of the summer.
Yeah, and they do like they go to like Chicago, somewhere in New Jersey, DC. They just did an Exotica. I think that's what I'm thinking about. They just had one that was in Chicago, I think.
Don't they do something in Florida, or is that something I'm
But
not
yeah,
sure?
I think that might be a model thing.
That's what I'm thinking too.
I think that's for model exclusives. I think that it's like the My Free Cam social,
Yeah,
and I don't viewer or patrons can't attend that. It's only for models.
gotcha. And that's another thing that cam models deal with is loneliness in this job. Like we don't have anyone to talk to, so going to those events is really crucial. And that's what I kind of want to do with this new channel that I have. Is I want to one of the ideas I have is to possibly like have number exchanges with different models. So I mean, we some nights you want to talk to somebody, so you don't have to get done with your shift, and there's really nobody there. I mean, we trying to do a community of some sort, you know.
The thing that saved me the most, and the only reason that I was successful, because I had tried camming previously. Again,
Mhm.
I worked in a dungeon and
Right.
wholeheartedly did not do well, did not make money, did not have fun, 0 out of 10 stars. So when I was like very hesitant to try camming again, I was like, we're gonna
Mhm.
try it. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. And I found someone named the Redhead Jade, and now things have changed a little bit, and she's no longer she's gone off on a different business venture. She's still
Okay.
very supportive of the sex worker community. And
Mhm.
I think the community that she created still exists,
Cool.
but meeting her and connecting, she actually had like an OnlyFans course that I took.
Yeah.
Then she did like a group coaching program that I attended. And the girls that I met in that program have become some of my best friends. I found who I call my Dom mom. She's literally a calendar up on a wall. I love her, Athenia Arcadia. Then there's Natasha, who's absolutely great. So there's some really, really wonderful people.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd be able to do this. I'm glad I met you.
Yeah,
I
same. I was gonna say that.
Girl
Like,
Diaries,
yeah.
like having just the support of being able to have other models that you can connect with and learn
Yeah.
from.
Yeah. It changes everything. And if you have questions, we won't get mad if you ask us. Like, we are not gatekeepers here at all. None of you guys are that I've met through Camgirl Diaries. And I still the thing of it is when you make friends with you guys, like other models, like you stay friends.
Yeah.
'Cause you have that bond. Like we're all so alike but so different, but we have that bond. We're few and far between.
Well, we do something that not a lot of other people are necessarily. Everyone's into something kinky.
Yeah.
Stand by that. Varying shades of kinky, as we talked about. Everyone has something that they like that they may they maybe are ashamed to tell someone, or they're just ashamed to be themselves and live it. And that's why we exist, because but everyone's into something. Everyone. So but it's whether or not you're willing to admit it.
Yeah. And that's the hard part.
And I always used to get the, oh, you're a cam model, you're an OnlyFans girl. I could never do that. I'm like, you're right, you couldn't, because you're so suppressed. It's not even funny, and you have no idea what would make your body feel good. You're right, you couldn't do
Yeah.
this.
I don't know how people like that live. Like my whole life, I've been like that. I'm always honest about how I feel. I don't even care who offends anybody. I don't know if it makes you feel weird. I don't care. That's how I feel. And most people don't. They can't do that. They can't get to that level.
Yeah.
And it's weird to me.
Right. Like I don't necessarily tell my grandma this is what
Well,
I
right.
like, but like, I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm
Right.
not ashamed of my body.
Mhm.
And so I'm comfortable being that. And that's how most of us are that are
Yeah.
doing this type of work.
Yeah.
So in previous, there has been a lot of gatekeeping that I
Yeah.
encountered, but not with like, I don't know, not with the people that I've connected with. Everyone has been so willing to like share their tips and
Yeah.
techniques. At the photography shoot that I did recently
Yeah.
was through someone that I met through a girl that I met at Exotica.
That's
So
awesome.
another model who attended, who happens to live nearby, absolutely beautiful, stunning. She's a professional model.
Nice.
Um, I can't take photos for shit. I'm still learning. So I was like, hey, you're beautiful. I'd love to learn. And she was like, yeah, she's like, I'll give you tips. I'll give you tricks. She introduced me to
Awesome.
a photographer that was near me. And she was like, this guy is great. He'll really help you get started. He'll help. She was like, he can help you figure out your posing techniques. I'll help teach you how to do your makeup, blah, 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 blah.
Amazing.
It's like, holy shit. I'm so glad that I get to meet such nice people. So I'm
Yeah.
really bad at being a girl. I love just taking my tits out and rolling around naked in the bed,
Right.
but putting on lingerie. And that's another reason it's hard. A lot of people have a hard time believing I'm more dominant because I don't necessarily always wear the all leather outfit.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
me, I'm more natural. So
Hmm.
I still want to take control, but bitch, my skin can't breathe in that.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly. That latex. Whew, I don't know
I
how
do.
people
I
get into
love
that.
latex, but I got like I'll get a latex bra, latex thong.
Yeah.
Like, I did recently invest in a cat suit, so I'm
Ah,
excited to try that on.
I can't
But
wait to see
like,
it.
oh, it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, it is.
But like, I'm like I can't always get into the like. You see my hair. I'm not wearing makeup. I just
That's
want to
fine.
be myself and take control of you and have a
Hmm.
good time together. Like.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about camming too is like Katie is, she's natural. She's like an outside type girl, like, but she can be herself. She doesn't have to dress up like that, and she's still fucking making bank.
Yeah.
Like they always say, there's someone for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, like if I did try to do my makeup, I would look like a clown. Like you guys would think I look ridiculous because I don't know what I'm doing, you
Right.
know?
At least you can admit that. It's like when I first started, I didn't know either. Like I had no fucking clue. I never wore makeup, and I watched a lot of tutorials, and I taught myself. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You just can be yourself, and you can make a lot
Exactly.
of money still just being yourself.
And I have so much more fun when I'm not having to worry about when I can just I wear my little crop top, my thong, my shorts, try to shake my ass. I recently started taking a twerk class.
Oh
So
my God.
I'll do like my twerk
Yes.
class. Although I threw my back out trying to twerk the other day. So
I have a story for you about twerking. Let's cut here because it's gonna run out. So let me stop this and then I'll send you another link and we gotta talk about twerking because it's funny. You don't know how to do it at all, right?
I do now a little
You might
bit.
have to demonstrate. Are you
We
down
get
with
it there. I threw my back out, like I'm still recovering.
that? Okay, so back to twerking. Tell us the story.
So I bought this online twerk class. I'm not going to do myself the disservice of trying to remember the beautiful girl's name. It's like Nass something. She's very, very famous, and I would butcher it if I tried to pronounce her name. Um, but I was trying to do the twerk class, and the class went okay. I then decided that I was going to take a shower, and I sometimes stream while I shower. So I started to do my shower stream, and I kind of like bent over, and everything ceased. I was like, "Oh!" So I'm like reaching and trying like to like end the cam. I'm like, "Oh God, Indy, please, buddy." Sorry, my puppy.
Okay, you're good.
I'm like trying to slam all the, all
Oh
my
my gosh.
screen down and and I had to like hobble out of the bathroom. And I was like, oh my God, I was in so much
Oh
pain.
my God.
I had muscle
That's
relaxers
crazy.
from an old car accident that I was in. So I
Yeah.
took a muscle relaxer and slept for the night. I was like, oh my God. And I woke up this morning feeling a lot better, but I was like, you're going to take it easy today. No
Yeah.
harsh movement. I think my muscles were just really angry at me
Yeah.
because, I don't have a ton of flexibility in my hips and I've probably haven't used my ab muscles like that in a generation.
Right.
So, my whole body was kind of screaming at me.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay, and you've never really twerked ever?
No.
No, me neither. And
Uh,
I'm gonna be 41 soon. I've never done it in Chatterbait. Someone asked me to go to a private show, and I didn't know they were gonna ask me to twerk. I'm like, no, I can't do that. That was one of the most embarrassing shows I think I ever did. Like, I don't know how to do it still. It's hard.
it's not easy. I used to be much heavier than I am now. At my
Mhm.
heaviest, I was almost 390 pounds.
Right, I remember this.
that was through a lot of like the time, and I still, was comfortable with my body, but I wasn't dancing around. I certainly
Right.
didn't feel like stripping or dancing,
Exactly.
and that's not what people were coming to me for when I was, serving the dungeon at that time anyway.
Right.
So that was never something that, I do yoga and I like to run. I've lost a bunch of weight, but I've never really been a dancer. I've never, so like, I still feel very awkward and clumsy. People ask me often to do like strip teases and stuff. And I'm just not, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I feel a little silly.
Yeah. I'm
So
the
I've,
same.
I've been taking some dance classes, and I
Cool.
said, I'm going to do the twerk lesson. So I'm going to start taking some pole dancing classes as
Oh,
well.
that's awesome. I love that. I was gonna have her demonstrate, guys, the twerking thing, but I'm gonna let her not do that because she threw it back out. So I mean, she's gonna have you
Oh,
come back
well,
up to
I was gonna say we'll have to come back and do it. I'm a little
it.
afraid that I might tweak myself out again then today. So I
Oh my
woke up
gosh.
feeling okay. I was very skeptical and I got out of bed and I was like,
Yeah.
all right, we can move.
Hmm. And that's one of the occupational hazards of our job. You might pull your back out. You might be in some weird positions, just never know.
I felt so bad too. I was doing, I was having a good time on stream and I was like, guys, I gotta go. I can't.
Yeah.
Ow.
And that's the one thing, like you said, you were streaming in the shower. A lot of the sites don't let you do shower stuff. I know Chatterbait, I got in trouble for doing shower stuff. So like a lot of things, if you're just beginning doing camming, you need to read the site's restrictions and the rules because a lot of them you get banned for that. StreamMate allows you to do that, right?
Yeah, StreamMate allows you to do. StreamMate allows a lot. That's where I
They
do my
do.
streams as
And the
well.
sleeping shows, love
And
those.
sleeping shows and my outdoor shows.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Chatterbait doesn't allow that either because I was on Chatterbait pretty
No.
much the whole time, and it's like very strict, very, very strict. But it's the biggest one out there because it's free.
And I got in trouble on Chatterbait for streaming in front of my window because my curtain
Yeah,
was open.
I remember
And
you saying that.
I was like, just like fucking Christ, guys.
What about that one time with your hot tub?
Yeah, I got in my hot tub.
Oh,
And like my house has a privacy fence all around it. My neighbors can't see me.
you were in the
So
basement with the
yeah,
hot tub,
yeah. I
like
had
you're outside.
inflatable hot. I've got a hot tub out here, but at that time I had an inflatable hot tub
Yeah,
in my basement. Now I've got a nice hot tub outside, so I've upgraded. But like, yeah, like it's wild.
it is.
Chatterbait has pissed me off a lot of ways.
Seriously. Yeah, I mean that's a love-hate relationship that me and Chatterbait have because it's just like if you get like a hand in the picture, like if someone was by you, like they'll just cut your stream just like that. Like they're very, very strict about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, to a point, I get it. But the
My
sleeping,
dog ran into in my stream.
yes,
And here's the thing, I'm
yeah,
very clearly I did not, I was chasing
right,
him, like I'm like screaming and flailing my
right,
arm. Like it's
because he stole
obvious.
toilet paper, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. And like I'm obviously not trying to like screw my dog,
yeah,
like that's
right.
I did not want him to be in that moment either. Trust me, Chatterbait.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, like
Dude, I know I got in trouble too because my dog was like half his tail was his ass end was in the picture and they stopped my stream. They were always stopping my stream all the time. Always I don't even know. But you are primarily you do a lot with StreamMate and you do Chatterbait occasionally, right?
yes. I
And
do a
Bonga
lot with
Cam.
StreamMate and Bonga cams. They're my favorite. And then I do Chatterbait and my free cams
Hmm.
as well.
And
I
Bonga Cams
really like
is that a token site too?
it is,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And I think it's a little bit lower than like for my free cams and
Mhm.
Chatterbait, you get like 5 cents for every token.
Yeah.
And with Bonga cams, it's 4 cents, I think.
Right. The whole
Unless
sense thing needs to go up seriously.
yeah.
Because like I used to always get in arguments with guys because they'd be like, "Oh, your prices are too high." I'm like, "No, no, they're not." Because what we get, it's hard to make money on Chatterbait. Like you have to have like your shows planned out. Like I used to have like a whole set up because like you have to sit there and just all the time just perform. As with StreamMate, you have paid shows,
Yeah.
and I
That's
really,
why
really
I like StreamMate a lot better because I can sit
mhm.
and be chill and people come in.
True. Yeah, I
Uh,
used to work 4 to 5 hours at a time, and I was like, "Damn, I'm like tired."
yeah.
Because you have people coming in and out, and they just want different things, and it's very, very mentally exhausting. Like our job is very mentally exhausting, physically too, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it'll get you.
Yeah, it will. So that's one thing coming in if you're new. is it's not just like you don't sit here all the time. Like you have to get up and do things. I think one of the funnest shows I had was this guy wanted me. He's like, I'm gonna ask you to do something that probably everyone in the room's gonna get pissed off about. I'm like, okay, what is it? And he's like, put your clothes back on. I'm like, perfect. And he's like, now go to your closet. And he did this all live. He didn't want to private. But then he took me private. But I tried on every single piece of laundry I had, which is like 100 pieces. It was the best show ever, though.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I like fun stuff like that.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it's nice. I did a stream like that once where I literally was just like, you know what? I'm going through my laundry closet and I'm
Mhm.
going to get rid of pieces that don't work for me anymore. And
Yeah.
you can help me figure out what's hot and what's not. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's like I used to when I first started, I sold dirty panties. That's the first thing I started with. Like a lot of times on Chatterbait, I would actually auction off the show panties after I was done. And that's a good place to sell things too on stream because you can.
Yeah.
Speaking of selling things, where do you sell anywhere else like many vids or clips for sale or anything?
So I do OnlyFans,
Okay.
and I'm working on getting something set up on All Things Worn because
Yes. Good.
I have a lot of people who ask me about like panties and
Yeah.
clothing. And I've actually gotten in trouble for discussing that kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, because on Chatterbait and stuff.
Really?
So yeah, they told me that you're not allowed to discuss like outside sales.
Oh yeah. I
And
just
I'm
must
like,
not get a hit with it. Hey,
so,
have you tried Scented Pansy? I've been on there since day one. I'll give you a referral link. That's where I
yeah,
sell all my panty stuff and everything else under the sun.
yeah, send that to
Yeah.
me.
They're
Because
good. They're a good
a
site
lot
too.
of what I would do is like get people to just message me on Snapchat or Instagram,
Yes.
cash at me. But
Mhm.
that can, I'd rather have like a site.
Yeah,
There's a level of safety that the
there
client
is.
puts with the site usually, because a lot of the times they're like, well, how do I know you're going to send me the panties? I don't want to send you these until I
Yeah.
get what I'm getting in the mail. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, what if what if I send it and you never pay me? I'm like, that's a gamble for me too, buddy.
Right. It's 50-50. At least
Uh,
with those sites like Send and Pansy, I was on All Things Warm as well and Panty Deal. And I was on Sniffer too. I was on all those sites, but they have a nice storefront set up and the transactions are done right through there. So, I mean, everybody's covered.
yeah.
It's a lot easier than doing the Cash App thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been looking for something like that that can just
Yeah.
make everyone feel more safe.
Yeah.
As I've sold panties a few times, but it's not as
Mhm.
lucrative, and I would love to. I have
Yeah.
people ask me about it all the time.
Yes.
There's just not a great way to do it.
And it's fun. It's really fun. I made like hundreds of dollars a day when I first started out doing that. I loved it because you get to like I would buy like cards to send with them, like thank you cards, and I would kiss the card when I sent it, like just personal touches. Like they love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever thought about what you're gonna put on as a return address? Are you gonna get a PO box?
I do have a PO box
Okay,
set
good.
up, and because I live in DC, there's so many post offices
Yeah,
surrounding me, so it'd be easy to even just like
yeah,
drive to a different state, and so that way when the postmark won't have my
that's
local
true.
post office stamp on it.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Anybody's looking to get into that kind of stuff, don't ever use your real address. Like, don't do
Yeah.
it. I didn't have a PO box. What I would do is put their address in both places, and it would
Yeah.
always get there. So that's another option. Yeah, I think what's the weirdest thing you've ever sent it in the mail?
So the weirdest thing that I've ever sent, well, and I guess it's objectively not weird, but
Yeah.
I did like a titty painting one stream. So like I painted
Yes,
my nipples and I did a
I have
canvas,
that.
sold that.
Dude, did you keep the painting? You sold the painting?
I sold it. I
I used to
didn't
do art shows. I have titty on canvas back there on that wall. That's so funny you said that. That's amazing. That's so much
keep
fun.
I love it. I have a friend who does it, like she paints
Mhm.
clothes with her titties,
Yep.
and she sells it, and I kind of got
Yep.
the idea from her.
Yeah, I used to have live paint shows. Like I get all my acrylic. I love blacklight stuff, so it'd be dark, just black lights on, and then they would pay to paint me. And that's like I like to do out of the box stuff. So do you on your shows? Like I don't like to use the apps much. I like to do my own shit, but you gotta have fun stuff. It makes the time go by faster. But that painting thing, that is super fun.
Yeah, I've loved that. I've done that a couple
Yeah,
times. So,
yeah. And then the cleanup sucks, but I mean it's not any worse than squirting everywhere. Like you know,
no. Although, so everyone laughs at me, but
hi.
I got this blanket. It's supposed to be for dogs. I got it in my
Yeah,
bark box.
yeah.
It's like, and it's the best. I want to say it's from like paw.com or something,
Hmm.
but it's like a white fuzzy blanket and it's waterproof.
That's perfect.
So
I actually
like, I
just
love it.
I actually just invested in a waterproof like sheet for the bed because I'm tired of like cleaning that shit up. There's
Yeah.
actually a company, I'm trying to look it up right now. Have you heard of it? It's a company that sells like that kind of stuff just for squirters. Have you heard of it?
I've seen some stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's very expensive, but they sell everything. I might be able to find it now, but yeah, they sell like what you're talking about, but it's like hundreds of dollars. So
Oh
that's a
yeah.
great alternative.
This thing, sorry, I'm so itchy from the poison ivy.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
mind
wait. Tell us the
scratching
story about the
people.
poison ivy. Let's back it up. Come on, you gotta share
So
it.
I love to stream outside. This, however, was not from streaming outside. I went and got naked in a public park of the location, which I won't disclose.
Mhm.
But I went and got naked in a public park and had my picture taken by a very lovely photographer. And I'm very excited to share all the photos with you. I've been getting some of them back. But yeah,
I saw a sneak peek, guys, and she's hot. You're gonna want to purchase these.
yeah, like but when I say I am covered, I went up and like I laid fully nude on like a rock up at the top of
Yes.
the water. I had a whole Beyonce moment where I was like completely naked in the river. But at one point I hugged, and I know what I'm looking for. I'm a naturalist. I was just
Yeah.
dumb because I was having fun and I was in the
Yeah.
moment.
You forget.
And I was overwhelmed by having, the photographer like hyping me up,
Hmm.
telling me how hot I was not paying attention to where I was throwing my naked flesh around. I've got poison ivy. You can see it on my arm.
Oh
I
my
have it
God, girl.
all down the backs of my thighs, all on the front of my thighs. It's in my armpit,
Hmm.
everywhere.
Another
um,
job hazard, right there.
So I've
Yeah, for being
usually
naked in
I've
the
got
woods.
like tech new that I would like use to rub down on myself after, but again, I was so in the moment and I was
Mhm.
having so much fun with the photographer. And I literally, when I say I threw my naked ass all over those woods, I
That's
gave
awesome.
fishermen a very surprising view. I ran into him and he, he had a good day.
That's
Um,
awesome. Good
and
job.
yeah. It was
Great.
fun. Yeah,
And
the
she's like, yeah, this
photographer
is
was like, "There's a guy behind you." I was like, "But is he in the picture?" And he was like, "No."
yeah,
I
I
was
don't
like,
care if he's
"Great,
in the
then keep
picture.
shooting."
Oh my God, that's so funny. I think it has to do with like you're comfortable being like naked in the woods. Like I am too. Like I'm always, as soon as I get to the fucking woods, I'm like stripping if I'm by
Right.
myself. And that's
Well,
just comes with it. I don't know.
I
It's like
live it's a little bit harder for me because I live in more of a
yes,
metro area. Um, gosh, I'm sorry, so
it's
scratchy.
okay.
Um, but I live it, so it's a little harder to find spaces where
Mhm.
that's why I like my backyard so much because I've got my
Yeah,
and I can be naked out there.
yes,
But
it's
it's
great.
harder to find places or times where I can just be, and it's here because here's my thing, like being naked in the woods when an adult runs across you is one thing, but the children, I'm really not trying
Yes,
to catch a charge,
yes,
like
exactly.
so
My childhood trauma was caused by a lady in the woods that saw naked humping a
right.
tree.
Right. Like I don't need that. I also don't want to be
Yes.
free. I don't want some 12-year-old to have that as the image that he jacks off to for the rest of his
Yeah,
life.
exactly. Or on his screensaver, he's showing everybody in school. I mean, God, there's so many
I,
possibilities.
I don't want that to be my journey. I don't
Right?
want that to be
No.
my future. So I
So be
try to,
careful when you're naked in the woods, guys. Okay.
yeah, you
Careful.
have to make sure that you're going to like a secure area. That's my
Your
biggest
location.
problem. I found this one trout fisherman and I was like, oh shit. I'm like, you're not supposed to be here,
Oh my God,
buddy.
that's super funny. Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, you
That's
definitely have to be a little bit more, and I think that's a little bit easier for you, isn't it? Where you live, it's
oh
a
yeah. Yeah, I
bit
can
less.
just walk over there, like to the dirt road and be like naked in the woods. Like
Yeah. See, I wish it was. That's the one thing that I live in a suburby area, but
yeah.
it's suburby for the city. It's
Hmm.
not
Yeah,
like
you just can't do that. You just can't. There's always somebody
yeah.
around. And that goes into the voyeurism thing because you love that too, don't you?
I do, but again, if it weren't for the fact that I could catch a charge for because I don't want kids see. I just
Yes.
straight up don't want children seeing me naked. I don't want that
No,
for me.
they
I
don't
don't
need
want
to.
that for them.
Yeah, at least you're like knowing that it's something that you don't want. Like some people just don't care, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, so I do, even with my car shows, like I'm
Yeah.
coming to do like flashes, and people always want me to drive around 100% naked, and I'm like, no, because there's kids in cars.
Yeah.
I don't have tinted windows, and it's one thing to do flashes when I can see
Yeah.
like if I can see it's just
Exactly.
a solo driver, or I can see there's not a car seat, but if I don't know for sure, I can't just be driving around with my titties out. With
Exactly.
flashes, we can have a lot of fun, but I still have to be
No
cautious.
titties out all the
I
time.
don't want to scar the children.
Yes. That's awesome that you think about it that way, though. Most people don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
They
and
don't.
again, it's probably mostly for me because I don't want to catch a charge. I don't want to
Yeah,
scar your children. I don't want to catch a charge. Because if
exactly.
I was a mom and I saw that, I would call the police
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. Same page there. So at
You
least you're
know,
cautious, you know. People, some people just
exactly.
don't even think about that stuff. Hey, I was reading up on some stuff on BDSM. Did you know that scientists have done research on the whole BDSM thing, and they've said that people that partners are that are into that kind of stuff are more like empathetic, more like out there, more conscientious of themselves. Like there's so many pluses to it.
And honestly, that's been my experience. Most
Yeah.
of the people, when I first got into this, I was really, really nervous. And I was like,
Mhm.
what kind of people am I going to meet? But I
Yeah.
met really great people, very sweet,
Mhm.
highly educated.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And
It's,
everyone's been very supportive and loving. And
you know, that's the one takeaway I got from my whole camming experience being in the industry is everybody I've talked to, a lot of clients, some of them are assholes, yeah, but most of them are just very like they're nice. I still have friends I still talk to, like guys from the UK and stuff, that we still are in contact. Yeah, some of the craziest fetishes, I don't kink shame anybody. It is what it is, what you like. But like some of they're doctors, they're lawyers, and they just can't be public about it.
yeah,
In
exactly.
their bedrooms, and that sucks.
Yeah,
So that's why they come to us.
exactly. That's why we exist.
Exactly. So, do you ever go like on FetLife? I know FetLife is like one of the largest. Like, are you on there? BDSM
I,
platforms? Yeah. Do you
I
sell a lot of? You sell anything on there?
I do. It's not, it's occasional, but I probably don't put as much time and energy into it as I
Yeah.
should.
I
So,
like the site a lot. It's really cool because you can find people in your area. You can meet up with people. It's really user friendly. But there's a
and
lot of kinks on there.
a
A
lot of
lot.
the experience that I have from on
Mhm.
FetLife is people wanting to come and hook up, and that's not
Yeah.
necessarily where I'm at.
Yeah. I was always getting that too. I still get it because I'm still on there. But it's like that's the one thing. Like as a cam model, when I was camming, is I never would do that. I don't meet up with anybody. It's too
Yeah,
risky. And I
yeah.
know a lot of girls do. And that scares the shit out of me, honestly.
The only if you were paying me upwards of $15,000 a month,
Yes.
or
Yes.
if you come to meet me at an event like Exotica, that is how you will get to meet me.
Yeah.
And that is what I explain always. I'm like, listen, if you are
Mhm.
going to be paying my bills monthly for at
I'll
least a
meet you.
year, right? Or you can come to
Yeah.
Exotica and meet me at an event
Yeah.
where I'm going to have security around me and I can feel a little safe.
Exactly. And that's when being a cam girl, you cannot be too careful. And I've talked to on the other podcasts, I've talked to many young girls that don't realize that. Like that person on the other end of the, screen or whatever, that's probably not that what they're saying they are. And you never go meet anybody alone either, you guys. Never.
No, no, no,
Mm-mm,
no, no, no.
you know. And that's another job hazard like that. A lot of people don't have that. They have to worry about like getting murdered. They don't, but we do.
Yeah.
And take that very, very seriously. So,
Yes.
what's your most favorite thing about camming? What do you like the best? Any aspect?
I like the freedom. It allows me to be myself. It allows me to create a schedule that's suiting. I can work
Mhm.
when I need to work. If I need to take time off, I can do that. I get to meet really, really cool and interesting people. I don't have to hide, I don't have
Mhm.
to, and it's again, it's really nice just the freedom, being able to live my life. And I work fewer hours than I would if I was working a normal job. I wouldn't say that it's like easy, but I'm able to do it from the comfort of my own
Right.
home. And I mean, I get to like masturbate all day naked in the woods. I was talking to
Oh,
my friend and she was like, so let me get this straight. She was like, is this how your day goes? You wake up, you camp for a couple hours, you walk your dog,
yeah.
get naked in the woods, eat a snack, come home, get paid to masturbate more on camera. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. And she was like, fuck off, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you could do it too. I'm
Yeah,
like,
anybody can do it. You just gotta have a good
yeah.
day. You gotta
And I
be
mean, yeah, it's certainly not that easy, of course. That's a very like that was a very, very simplified, like from
that was a
out,
good day.
but like that was her. She was like, from the outside looking in, this is your
Yeah,
life. And I was like,
yeah,
yeah. I'm like, it's not that easy. It's not that simple, but yeah, I don't have to worry about a boss telling me what to do.
right.
I don't have, deadlines to meet. I can make my money and do what I got to do and take care of
Yeah,
my body.
yeah, exactly. And you have great coworkers. I mean, come
Yeah, exactly.
on. I don't know. It is a really good job if you can deal with the whole like stigma, which all of us do. Like being transparent, like I am completely. Like I just when I first got into it, I knew I never was gonna be able to hide it. Because once you're on camera, you're out there forever. So I was just like, whatever, this is what I do. If you don't agree with it, oh well, kick rocks. You're the
I will
same way, right?
say, I do think it helps that I had an established, partner
Yeah.
prior to doing this. I think that if I was trying to actively date, it would
Yeah,
be a little bit harder.
it
I see,
is.
I'm very, very grateful to have a partner that's very loving
Yeah,
and supportive.
that's
And
true. I never thought about that like that with you, but it is true because I've been single the whole time. And let me tell you, how many guys turn me down because I'm a cam girl? A lot. Everyone.
yeah,
It's hard to find somebody.
and especially if you're, right now, one of my main partners is woman.
Hmm.
And so if you're someone who's looking for a male partner too, I think that's even more because
Guys hate it.
yeah, men and it's always blown my mind, but there's kind of this stigma that everyone would want to fuck a cam girl, but no one wants to date her.
Exactly. Exactly. I
I'm
mean, I
like,
remember the first guy that told me the reason he wouldn't want to date me is because I'm a camera. I'm like, why? I do it on my computer. Like, I'm not going and meeting anybody. He's like, no, it's just gross. I'm like, what's so gross about it? You watch that shit all the time, probably.
and you'd get
Like,
hundreds of high quality nudes.
exactly, for free.
Right.
You can take my fucking pictures. Come on.
My partner's spank bank is abundant, let me tell you.
Exactly. You get to test out the new toys with me. Come on. I mean, it's a win-win situation.
it is a you get to be stunt cock.
Oh
Like,
my God, yeah, that's the greatest title ever. I mean, come on.
I'm like, yeah.
Missing out, guys. You're missing out. Just saying. So it was awesome talking to you. I mean, every time we've talked 3 times now. I mean, there's always something cool going on with you. You bring a lot of information always, which I
Oh,
thank you for that.
yeah, of
And
course.
I'm very happy that you're my first interview on the new channel. It's
I'm
super.
so excited to be your first interview. This is
Yeah,
great. You
I
know,
know.
we always learn so much from each other, and that's the thing. When you create community, you can help learn from each other.
Yeah. And that's what we need. Like I want to make play like maybe weekly we can all like get together on a Zoom, open Zoom for 4 hours just to talk. Because if you don't, I don't have nobody to talk to. I mean, you go on Chatterbait or whatever and you try to go into models' rooms and they're like, get out, and they they ban you. It's just like, come on.
I know.
The nice ones are few and far between.
Yes, I'm very, very fortunate for if it weren't for the community that Jade created and then
Yes.
Exotica, I wouldn't have met anybody. I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for you and, doing the podcast. And it's
Yeah,
things like this that help bring us together.
it
Because
is. If I
you're
never would have
just
found Fangirl
like,
Diaries, like
yeah,
never would have known you guys.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
if you're, and like you said, if you're just scrolling through models' rooms, it's really, really hard. But when you're able to make connections like this, it makes things
Yeah.
easy.
And it's like these connections honestly like are more like prominent like than regular friendships. Like for
Yeah,
me, like I feel closer to you guys than I do people on the street like I'm friends with.
yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
different kind of feeling.
It
I know I
is.
can be like, yo, bitch, I got this glass dildo. What do you think about this? You're not gonna
Right.
judge me.
Exactly.
My other friend be like, oh, what are you doing over there?
Oh, yeah, I've definitely gotten some raised eyebrows.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, we're not supposed to talk about that out loud. Oops. When you have no filter, it's hard to participate in regular society.
It is.
It really is. So anything else you want to add before we go?
Mhm. I'm just grateful that we got to talk. Thank you for
Yes,
having
I
me.
as well. Thank you so much for coming. And guys, stay tuned. I will link all of Mistress Katie's information on the show notes. Definitely want to go check her out, guys. If you're listening, she is super hot. But yeah, and just check all the show notes and all her info will be there, and you can buy some of her shit and support her. All right. Great having you. All
It
right.
was
Take care,
wonderful
bud.
having you. Love
All
you.
right. I love
Bye.
you too. Bye.